Hello guys, welcome to all of you in Code Tpoint. My name is Amit and today we are going to continue with Python learning series. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss some practice questions in decision controls. We have already covered the concepts of if and else statement, and today we will see some of the practice questions for the basics and intermediate level. And again, we will cover for advanced level questions. Since it is one of the important area, or you can say one of the important concepts in the Python programming, where we have to write a lot of our logic based upon if and else statement, and we should have a very good practice on it. Very first question is, check if a number is positive or negative. Write a Python program to check if a given number is positive, negative, or zero. So this is a basic level of the questions. So we will start writing one by one and we will see how we can proceed ahead. So let's go into the Jupyter notebook and start writing the code. So what is the questions? I'm just copying this question and going back to here. So the first question is, I'm going to use, right, check if a number is positive or negative. Write a Python program to check if a given number is positive, negative, or zero. All right. So let's go and start writing this piece of the code. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just creating a variable called number, and what I'm going to do is I'm just taking a prompt of it. So by using input function, enter a number, correct? Now what I'm going to do is, now we are going to write the logic of if and else. In this case, if number is less than 0, then what will happen? It is a print, it is a negative, it is a negative number, correct? Right? And we will print the number. Second case, if number is not a negative number, in that case, what will write? Right? Elif number is greater than 0. Okay, greater than 0. In that case, what will happen? We will write print. Okay, in this case, it is a positive number. Okay, and then we will write number. What is the number there? It has been entered. Third line is, okay, third line again we are going to write it. If number is like equal to 0, in that case, print its value is 0. Okay, and we are going to print that number. Okay, else what we are going to write? Print invalid input, correct? In this case, what we are going to do is we are going to test this piece of the program and see how it works. So what it is asking? Enter a number. Let's say I just entered 100. It's a positive number, 100, right? Again, I'm just executing this piece of the code. This time I'm giving the values called, let's say, -5, correct? And it's a negative number, Correct? Again, I'm going to test this piece of the code. Let's say I'm giving 0, right? It is saying it is a 0, right? So I think, this is working fine. So we have completed this piece of the program. So think about what are the logic we have to construct it, and step by steps we can write those logics, and it will be very simple. Let's go to the question number 2. Question number 2 is saying, check for even or odd. Write a program to determine if a number is even or odd. So let me copy this code and going back to here, and I'm writing, okay, this is a second program we are going to use it. So again, we are going to use number and taking the prompt values. This time input, again, enter a number. Now what we are going to do is we are going to test for even and odd. If number modulus sign 2 is equal to 0, then since the modulus will give us remainder, so the even number is the number which is divisible by 2 and do not give any kind of remainder. So we can say the number is divisible by 2 and do not give any remainder is called a even number, and the number which is not divisible by 2 is odd number. So I have written, if number modulus 2 is equal to 0, then what we are going to print it is a even number. Okay, and in that case we are going to print that number, right? Else, okay, in that case what will happen? Print else the number is, it is a odd number, right? Correct? So because if that condition is not going to fulfill, then this condition is going to fulfill, right? And in this case we are going to print this number, right? So let's go and check this piece of the code. So what is asking? Enter a number. So let's say I'm going to enter 95. So it is a odd number. Again, I'm executing this piece of the code. Let's say this time I'm just giving 205. It's a odd number, right? So you can say that is this code is working absolutely fine. You can improvise this code once again by applying 0. So let's say if anybody is enter 0, then what is the response? It is a odd or even. You can try it out over it. If you not, please send me the query and I will write this code once again for implementing the 0. Okay. Let's go for third question, which is find the greater number, take 2 number as input and print the greater of 2. Correct? So let's take it this question and start writing the program for this question. So it is asking for take 2 number and then compare the number which is greater and which is smaller, right? So what I'm going to do is this time I'm taking 2 number. Let's say number 1. Okay, taking 2 number right now as a prompt, and this time I'm taking enter a number. Correct? This is number 2, and for that I'm going to write input. I'm going to write enter another number. Correct? Now what I'm going to do is if number 1 is less than number 2, in this case, what will happen? Print number 2 is greater, and the value will be right. Else, correct? Else, we can say, but let's say in this case, we are going to incorporate another case. If number 2, is less than number 1, in this case, what will happen? Print number 1 is greater, and in this case, we will print this number. Okay, correct? Let's say we are going to consider another case. If number 1 is equal to number 2, in this case, what we are going to print? Print both are equal number, correct? In this case, what we are going to print? Number 1 and comma number 2, right? Else, what will happen? We are going to use print, okay, invalid inputs, correct? So let's execute this piece of the code and check, correct? So this time, first number I am giving 50, second number I am giving 25. What is happening? Number 1 is greater 50. Let's say I executing this piece of the code again. This time I am giving 25. Second number is giving 95. Okay. So I think this program is working fine. Let's go for another program. Grade evaluations. Write a program that takes a score as an input and print the grade, right? So let me copy this question and come back to here. Okay. For this code, for this question, what we are going to do, we are going to write the code. So what is asking? If anyone is entering his score, in that case, we have to give his grade, right? For example, if someone is scored 90, in that case, he should get the grade as A. If somebody has got the score of, let's say, 75, he should get the grade of B, and so on. So we are going to write that logic and say how it works, right? So first, what we are going to do is, in this case, we are going to use score int input. In this case, enter your score, correct? Now, if score is greater than 75 and score is less than 90, let's say 95, okay, or maybe we can say 80, and then what we are going to do is print your grade is A, okay. Else, what will happen? Sorry, since we have a multiple conditions, so Elif score is, let's say this time, greater than, let's say 65 and score is less than 80, in that case, print your grade is B, correct? And in this case, let's say third category is third category, let's say, or we can say in this case, let's say we are going to use 100 or okay, or maybe let's say we improvise this code a little bit better. In this case, we are going to use A plus, and in this case, let's say, yeah, so let's say we are going to take it 90 and it is 80, correct? Is A, Elif, score, let's say, greater than 65 and score is less than 80. In that case, what we are going to print, your grade is, sorry, your grade is, let's say, we can say B plus, else, we can say else print your grade is B, correct? So let's say we execute this piece of the code, and this time we are giving the score of, let's say, 95, correct? Again, executing this piece of code, let's say we are getting okay, this time let's say we are getting 65. So what we are getting is B, or we can say in this case, okay, or we can improvise this code once again. If for less than 65, we can say, in this case, or okay, so let's say I'm executing this piece of, this time I'm giving 55. In this case, my grade is C. Again, I'm just taking, so here it is. So let's say this time I'm putting 62 and our grade is C. So I think, this is working fine. Please try to share it, and I will try to respond those questions by writing this piece of the code, and we will discuss in the class. So we have also a paid sessions for Python, data science, and machine learning. So guys, if you want to go for the paid sessions, so please fill up the forms below, and our team will be respond to you. Hope you have enjoyed this session, guys. If you have any queries, please try to write your queries and I will try to respond it. Thank you. Thank you once again.